Hello everyone, this is Akanksha from English Logger. In this video, we will talk about chapter number 3, Helen Keller's The Story of My Life. So let's get started. Here we'll start with chapter number 3. Meanwhile, the desire to express myself grew. Here Helen was saying that she wanted to express herself more and more, and the desire to express herself was growing as she was getting old. But she was not able to do so. Reason that the few signs which she was knowing, those were inadequate, not sufficient to do conversation, and my failures to make myself understood were invariably, means always, followed by outbursts. I felt as if invisible hands. She started feeling that there were invisible hands. Those were holding her, and she made frantic efforts, means very hard to make herself free from those hands. I struggled, not that struggling helped matters. Means she struggled a lot to make herself free, but those struggled were means didn't help her. But the spirit of resistance, means she has to do that. This spirit was very strong in her. I generally broke down in tears and physical exhaustion. If my mother happened to be near, I crept into her arms, too miserable even to remember the cause of the tempest. After a while, the need of some means of communication became so urgent. Means at that very time, the means of communication was so urgent to her that these outbursts occurred daily. It happened daily or sometimes hourly. Now here is, my parents were deeply grieved and perplexed, that is, puzzled. We lived a long way from any school for the blind or the deaf, and it seemed unlikely that anyone would come to such an out of the way place as Tuscubia to teach a child who was both deaf and blind. Seeing their child in grief, Helen's parents felt deeply grieved and even puzzled. There was no school for the blind or the deaf nearby. Tuscubia, where Helen and her parents lived, was an out of the way place. Then, my mother's only ray of hope came from Dickens' American Notes. So here is, Helen's mother came to know about Dickens' American Notes, how Laura Bridgman, who was blind and deaf, was educated by Doctor Who, but Doctor Who had been dead many years, but and she was thinking that his methods had probably died with him, and if they had not, how was a little girl in a far off town in Alabama to receive the benefit of them? So here is helen Helen's parents, family, friends, and relatives. They had a doubt, or they sometimes doubted whether she could be taught or not. When I was about 6 years old, my father heard of an eminent, means famous, oculist. Here means a person who examines or treats people's eyes in Baltimore, who had been successful in many cases that had seemed hopeless. My parents at once determined to take me to Baltimore to see if anything could be done for my eyes. The journey, which I remembered well, was very pleasant. I made friends with many people on the train. One lady gave me a box of shells. My father made holes in these so that I could string them, and for a long time they kept me happy and contented. Contented here means busy or happy, satisfied. The conductor too was kind. Often when he went his rounds, I clung to his coat tails while he collected and punched the ticket. His punch, with which he let me play, was a delightful toy. Curled up in a corner of the seat, I amused myself. She kept herself busy for hours making funny little holes in bits of cardboard. So here Helen's parents took her to an oculist in Baltimore. The journey was very pleasant for her. Helen made friends with many people. One lady gave her a box of shells. Her father made holes in these so that she could string them. They kept her busy for a long time. The conductor also was very kind towards her, and that the conductor had given his punching machine to her, with which she made funny little holes in bits of cardboard. My aunt made me a doll out of towels. It was the most comical, that is, funny, shapeless thing. This improvised doll, with no nose, mouth, ears, and eyes, nothing that even the imagination of a child could convert into a face. Curiously enough, the absence of eyes struck me more than all the other defects put together. Means the absence of eyes struck her more than any other defect. I pointed this out to everybody with provoking persistency, but no one seemed equal to the task of providing the doll with eyes. Then a bright idea, however, shot into my mind, and the problem was solved. And what was the idea? The tumult of the seat. I searched under it until I found my aunt's cape, which was trimmed with large beads. I pulled two beads off and indicated to her that I wanted her to sew them on my doll. Then she raised my hand to her eyes in a questioning way, and I nodded energetically yes, that she wanted those beads as as eyes on the doll's face. The beads were sewed in the right place, and I could not contain myself for joy. But immediately I lost all interest in the doll. During the whole trip, I did not have one fit of temper, just because her mind and fingers were busy in so many things. When we arrived in Baltimore, Dr. Grissom received us kindly, but he could do nothing. He said, however, that I could be, means Helen could be educated, and advised my father to consult Dr. Alexander Graham Bell of Washington, who would be able to give him information about schools and teachers of deaf and blind children. Acting on the doctor's advice, we went immediately to Washington to see Dr. Bill. My father, with a sad heart and many misgivings means doubts, I wholly unconscious of his anguish, pain, finding pleasure in the excitement of moving from place to place. She was not able to understand the pain of her father, rather, she was enjoying the movement, the excitement of moving from one place to another place. Child as I was, I at once felt the tenderness and sympathy which endeared Dr. Bill to so many hearts, as his wonderful achievements enlist their admiration. He held me on his knee while I examined his watch, and he made it strike for me. It means that Helen felt comfortable with him. Dr. Bell advised Helen's father to write Mr. Anagos. He understood my sign, and I knew it and loved him at once, but I did not dream that interview would be the door through which I should pass from darkness into light, from isolation to friendship, companionship, knowledge, and love. After the conversation with Dr. Bill, Helen's father wrote a letter to Mr. Anagnos and received a letter of assurance that a teacher had been found, and the teacher was Miss Sullivan. This was in the summer of 1886. However, the teacher, Miss Sullivan, didn't turn up until the following March. So Helen felt as if she had come up out of Egypt and stood before Sinai, where a divine power touched her spirit and gave it sight. And she heard from the sacred mountain a voice that said, knowledge is love and light and vision. It means that knowledge is everything. So this is it about chapter number 3. I just hope that you have understood the chapter. If it is so, mention in the comment section that is below. You can subscribe channel English Logger. Thank you and have a nice day. Stay tuned for more videos.